Okay, Mark, let's end then with this. We've got the Hill here and Supreme Court set to take centre stage in battle for the Senate.
Yes, the mass media syndicate is going full tilt to promulgate the idea that everything the Supreme Court's done is retrograde, regressive, lowbrow, knuckle-dragging nonsense, as if conservatism itself is some sort of plague. And of course, everything that the liberal set has done is portrayed as unblemished, pure as the driven snow, progressivism. What could possibly be wrong? So what the press is pushing here is the idea that the ruling by the Supreme Court on affirmative action, which they got rid of for college admissions, the ruling, we're at the 1-year anniversary of overturning Roe v. Wade, the ruling to not allow student debt to be set aside, but to resume payments on student debt, which is a controversial decision from both sides of the aisle, granted on that one. And there was also a ruling very recently that a web designer could, according to the court, would not be required, that is, to do web designs for same-sex couples due to the web designer's religious beliefs, which is a First Amendment matter and a First Amendment protection that the web designer is logically and constitutionally entitled to. So what the press is pushing is now, due to these retrograde, terrible decisions that the court has made, a lot of bellwether decisions in a relatively small period of time. Well, this is the way for now voters can be energized to go out and vote on the basis of these court decisions, get rid of Republicans in the U.S. Senate, get more Democrats in the Senate. Therefore, over time, they can get rid of Clarence Thomas. He's getting older. He's one of the 6 conservative Supreme Court justices, and they can begin to shift the court back to the liberal court that gave us Roe v. Wade in the first place 50 years ago this year. So that's basically it. Here's the Hill, a Washington, D.C. rag that's saying Democrats were already fired up because of Roe v. Wade, said Democratic pollster Celinda Lake, I believe her name is. It will mobilize Democrats, particularly Democratic younger women who are already turning out and registering to vote in record numbers. Going on, this is a pattern which just shows a Supreme Court that's out of control, and so on and so forth, and that they're taking away the freedoms and moving the country backwards. And Democrats are very strongly engaged, and women are very strongly engaged to get out the vote. So this is the narrative being pushed by the bought press, the kept press, as they're sometimes called. And it's also interesting to note, this isn't in the slides, that on 2 separate occasions on the reporter's trail in Las Vegas and in Washington, D.C., I met a group called Democrats for Life. There is a lesser known, if not virtually unknown, group called Democrats for Life that don't believe in the wholesale abortion for any reason industry, the killing industry that is the abortion corporation, Planned Parenthood, the main provider of abortions in the United States. So these are the things you never hear. So the press is going to go on portraying all women, assuming they all support abortion, much in the way in South Texas, the press talks about Hispanics as if they all believe in open borders, when that's not true at all. So this is a major stereotyping thing going on, major propaganda to use these decisions by the court and act as if they're terrible, they're all terrible, and now's the chance to turn the U.S. Senate blue, turn it blue, get the Democrats in, get the Republican majority, a very thin majority out, and get the court back to the liberal court that they wanted and have always wanted, which was basically when Ruth Bader Ginsburg was still alive and quite a bit before that. Here in this last slide that's up on deck, we'll kind of conclude with this. Steve Jarding, a Democratic strategist who previously served as an advisor in the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, said the court's recent decisions are changing decades of precedent, impacting millions of Americans. He said if Democrats use it correctly as an issue, they can move voters to support Senate Democrats in key races. So this is the major paradigm shift they think can happen. And this is the major quote here. This is the court that Republicans wanted, that Republicans gave America, and now they're dismantling the social fabric of the country. And of course, they go on to say that abortion is a constitutional right that the court got rid of a year ago. It cannot be emphasized more. When Justice Samuel Alito a year ago wrote for the majority, he did a very thorough investigation of abortion in America, its historical precedents, its legal precedents. There is no constitutional right for an abortion. There never has been. It cannot be stressed too much. It was a medical choice made available through legal legerdemain, through a lot of misleading and misguided concepts and decisions. But there has never been what you would actually call accurately a constitutional right for abortion. And everything the press is pushing on that issue is based on that false notion, and that's not an opinion. Okay, and so this is the major propaganda push and political push happening right now. And a lot hangs in the balance if the Senate were to go the other way. That's for sure, constitutionally. But many people, on the other hand, are quite happy about the Supreme Court's decisions. Affirmative action, really, many believe, and I think accurately so, is racism in action. And if you take away that, you become colorblind in admissions policies at colleges, for example, and then people are judged on their merit, on their skills, on what they know, on what they have to offer, irrespective of their color. To me, that's the absence of racism. If you put affirmative action in there, many believe it's racism in action under the guise of eliminating racism. So a very dynamic thing happening right now, lots of press propaganda, but something worth pointing out at this point in time.
Okay, Mark, thank you very much. And that brings us to the end for today. I'm going to say thank you very much to Mark and to David for joining me today. Now, we have to say we're not able to bring in extra today. We have something else that we've got to do this afternoon. So we will be back, 1 o'clock tomorrow for the interview that we talked about in the ad break. But we'll be back at 1 p.m. for the news program as usual on Wednesday. So thanks to everybody for joining us today. We will see you then. Bye-bye.